Scar is one of, if not the most popular Disney villain of all time. But what's his true origin, and where did he get his scar? This seems like a pretty straightforward question with an obvious answer to any Lion King fan who's ever done a little digging. The problem here is, depending on who you ask and to a certain extent how old they are, you can get some massively different answers. So come with me as we go through Scar's three different origin stories. The earliest origin for Scar is contained in the book The Tale of Two Brothers, which is part of a 6-book series released by Disney following the massive success that is The Lion King. Perhaps unsurprisingly, a lot of people had questions about this lion and why he was apparently so consumed with rage and jealousy that he killed his own brother. This story outlines the current condition of the Pride Lands. It's the dry season, which for the uninitiated means there's little to no rain for months at a time and the sun is a deadly laser right now. Many of the animals are on edge because of the lack of water there is to go around, and the hyenas are being a nuisance as per usual, picking on the weak, and surprisingly, their antics are what lead Mufasa to meeting his lifelong friend, Rafiki. Mufasa and Taka are out with their father when they come across Rafiki and save him from some hyenas harassment. Taka is less here to be a savior and more just hanging around waiting for his father Ahadi's attention to land on him. This is made clear both by the story and by Scar, who says so himself both with his words and his actions. It's recognition that he craves, and he goes about it in some unconventional ways. In case it wasn't clear already, this is Taka, our young Scar. His name essentially is Swahili for dirt or worthless. Right off the bat, I can kind of see why Taka's got some issues, especially when your name essentially means garbage and your brother's means king. After it's established that he wants for more, much like the hyenas do, Rafiki, who is now acquainted with the lions, finds Taka conversing with them away from prying eyes. He overhears Taka planning to hunt some big game to impress his father, but the hyenas insist he instead do something to make the golden child Mufasa look bad, to hopefully make Taka look better. And all I can say about this is,
It's the hyenas who are the real enemy. It was their fault. It was their idea.
Anyway, with it being the dry season, Taka comes up with the plot to use the circumstances to his advantage. With all the animals concerned over what little water there is left, Taka leads Mufasa to one of the last watering holes in the territory, which is being guarded by a Cape buffalo named Boma. The largest of the bunch to be exact, and by the way, this is a Cape buffalo. Taka demands that Boma relinquish the watering hole or face Mufasa in battle. Mufasa, clearly not having been previously notified that he was being volunteered for a fight, tried to argue that he wasn't interested in violence, but Boma had already made up his mind. No one was going to order him out of his watering hole, not even the sons of the king. He charges Mufasa, full of rage, but luckily he managed to escape with Rafiki in tow, the baboon being the only one who knew something was up and had instructed him to run as the danger approached. Mufasa managed to outrun, then outsmart the thundering beast of a bull, but when all seemed to be okay again, Taka was now in trouble. He had been surrounded by the rest of Boma's herd, and they had no intent on letting him leave with his life. He mostly managed to evade their attacks until he lost his footing and was caught by the horn of one of the larger bulls, laying on the ground thereafter completely motionless. He was only saved by his father, who arrived with help to halt the attack. Once home and having been treated, Taka found out that he'd be scarred for the rest of his life from the attack, now sporting the trademark scar above his eye. Ahadi, their father, pointed out to Taka that this would serve as a good reminder that he let his hatred get the best of him, and it ended badly for him. It seems like he meant it not as a punishment or source of shame, but as a valuable lesson learned for his young son. Taka clearly didn't see it this way, a flash of rage filling his eyes, then subsiding before he forced a smile to his brother. Taka proclaimed to his father and the others that he'd be known as Scar from now on, and that he would never forget this day. And we know the rest. In the Lion Guard, Scar is literally summoned from hell by the hyenas and a group of assorted reptiles experiencing what I can only call lion fatigue. The crocodiles are all snippy because they were woken from their sleep by the Lion Guard's activities, and there's a cobra who's frankly just tired of getting stepped on. That aside, when Scar is summoned, he tells those present about how he got his scar, and the story is relatively short when compared to the other two. He explains how he was appointed leader of the Lion Guard, being second-born cub to the royal family much like Kion. After being approached by a lion he didn't know, he followed this mysterious stranger under the promise of power and potentially help overthrowing the Pride Lands. As he follows behind, this mysterious lion stops, and with no time to react, Taka is bitten or seemingly slashed over his left eye by a cobra bite. Shaking off the bite, Taka glared at the other lion, who began to tell him that he'd give him the cure for the venom if he did what he was told. Something I like about this version of the story is it sympathizes with Scar a little bit more, but at the cost of sort of tearing down Mufasa's character, which I'm not a huge fan of, but at the end of the day, the show wasn't made for me. This isn't about Mufasa, it's about Scar. Scar refuses the deal and uses the roar of the elders to destroy the strange lion and the snake that bit him. But according to him, when he went to tell Mufasa what happened, expecting praise for doing the right thing, he was teased and nicknamed Scar by the king. Because this is a cartoon, specifically a more young audience-oriented version of a cartoon about a monarchy of talking lions, I'm not going to hold it against the series that this isn't how snake bites work and that the lion in question doesn't have access to the facilities necessary to develop anti-venom. But put simply, that's the entire story according to the Lion Guard. The origin most people are familiar with at this point is probably the version told in the recent movie, Mufasa the Lion King. I'm gonna kind of run through this one because chances are you've seen it, and if you haven't, I recommend you go watch it. It's some of my favorite Lion King media, despite the mixed reviews it garnered from other fans. I get that the whole live action thing is getting old with Disney, but I liked it a lot. Even when it's ugly like in The Beauty and the Beast, it's better than this. Back on the subject, the movie starts with Mufasa and his family. Immediately there's a difference in the narrative compared to the others that Mufasa and Scar are not brothers by blood. After being separated from his parents, a young Mufasa is found and begrudgingly on his father's part taken in by Scar's pride. When we meet him, Scar is also a young cub with barely a care in the world, who's a good sport, friendly, and for a while seems just as pure as Mufasa. Over time though, his father's influence seeps into him. For the crime of being an outsider, Taka's father, Obasi, commands Mufasa to spend more time with the lionesses as he teaches his real son how to be a king. Which, as far as he's concerned, means indulging in doing nothing all day, mostly taking naps and letting the female lions do all the real heavy lifting. He clearly means to demean Mufasa by doing this, but ends up squandering any potential Taka has instead by teaching his son nothing while Mufasa learns the ways of hunting and every other skill the lionesses hone every day while their king lays around. After some time, the brothers, now late teens to young adults, are pushed out of their territory by Kiros. Now vagabonds, they wander looking for a place Mufasa remembers his mother telling him about, Milele. As they press on, looking for the fabled place of plentiful food, water, and space to roam, the brothers are tested while being hunted down by the merciless, massive lion that killed their father and now has his sights set on the bountiful land they seek. Along the way, they meet Sarabi, Zazu, and Rafiki, but it's Sarabi's affection for Mufasa over Taka that begins to drive a wedge between them. Taka watches what we now know to be set in stone unfold in front of him as the lioness he's developed an admiration for blatantly chooses the other brother, who for obvious reasons is now more sensitive, patient, and thoughtful of her and the world around them. The resentment grows within him. Incident after accident after issue, Mufasa manages to keep everyone together and continue onward with a strong sense of leadership Taka never saw within himself. This all came to a head when Taka came to feel betrayed and let the darkness within him start to consume him. He made a deal with Kiros, the powerful lion wanting nothing more than to rid the world of the pitiful creature that killed his son, who, mind you, was attacking the closest thing Mufasa had to a mother, Taka's mother. While Taka himself cowered in fear, being too timid from his meager upbringing under Obasi to be of any help. Having gone through with the plan he set up under Kiros' command, Taka led the pride of hostile lions out of the mountains where Mufasa's group hoped to lose them, covering their tracks in fresh fallen snow. Once they arrive in Milele, the other animals who already call it home agree to stand with Mufasa and fight to defend it from the invaders who now want to take Mufasa's life as well as the new land for themselves. Kiros manages to corner Mufasa after a brutal fight where he, for the most part, tosses him around almost like he's an adult lion taking out his rage on a teenager who was just defending his mother from an unprovoked attack. After he beats and abuses him, bragging about his power and how there's no way Mufasa can win, he approaches with the paw raised, ready to deal a final blow when Taka finally finds the courage he's been looking for his entire young life and leaps in between them, taking the hit for him, and when he gets back up, we see the wound that will become his scar. Now standing as one again, the brothers manage to overcome Kiros, and one little detail that sort of hurts is you can see the way Mufasa looks at him while they approach Kiros. He doesn't entirely trust him anymore. Mufasa keeps an eye on Taka until they clash with Kyros because the brother he's loved and supported his entire life and vice versa almost purposefully caused his death. Once Kyros is defeated by the brothers, his pride is already being chased off by the animals above ground who have now unified under Mufasa. As things calm down, all seems to be well, but something is different now. Taka, who can't even look Sarabi in the face knowing what he had just done, slinks off, presumably not knowing what to do with himself, until he appears again in front of Mufasa. Even after everything, Mufasa proclaims to his new kingdom and all its subjects that as long as he is king, his brother will have a place here. He refuses to banish him, even at Zazu's behest, but adds that he can never speak his brother's name again. "Then call me Scar," Taka responds, much like the original, stating that he'll never forget what he did. Alright, that about wraps that up. Which origin was your favorite? What was your first exposure to the Lion King series? Drop it in the comments below. It was Timon and Pumbaa for me.